Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Brother T. I'm a Freemason cigar enthusiast with VCR, and we got the tapes rolling on another cigar review video for you folks today. Today, we're smoking a brand that we have not smoked on this channel before. It is the Eiroa Jamastran 11x18. 11x18 denoting the Vitola. Initial impressions, it presents very well. It has some nice contrast between the wrapper and the bands. It is very appealing to the eye. It has a toothless feel, and by that I mean it's smooth. It's cashew brown in color. It is a very firm pack with visible veins, invisible seams, and what appears to be a triple cap. Let's light it up. All right. Initial impressions? It's really good. Not surprising at all, but there's some salt, there's some wood, there's a little bit of nut there, slight sweetness. It's pretty engaging, maybe a slight pepper note as well. Fantastic for an initial light, a little sweeter than I expected, and that little bit of salt really offsets the entire value proposition there, so it's well done. The draw, it's thick, it's creamy, it feels like water through a straw. Slight coating to the mouth. Strikes me more as a cream than an oil, but we'll see what that turns into. All right, everybody. We're getting to about that 1 inch mark, a little bit north of that. The cigar has been fantastic. We still have notes of wood with a little bit of earth. The saltiness is still there intermittently though, but there are copious amounts now of dried fruit. That nut component really isn't a peanut, but maybe more of a cashew or a pecan. It kind of jogs between either one of those. And at times, you almost think you're eating trail mix. It is a little bit of a sweeter cigar, more so than savory. The black pepper is still there, albeit it's very much removed. Sometimes you'll feel a back of throat scratch, but it's a 1 of 10. It's enough to register, but you have to kind of be looking for it. You notice it as you're focusing, and you're like, oh my goodness, there's a back of throat scratch. So it doesn't take away from the draw experience at all, or the smoking experience. In fact, I think it adds a lot of contrast when you have some of those extra sensory considerations involved with your cigar. So by that end and to that measure, it's been fantastic. It is a great cigar so far. We'll walk through the blend at this time as well. The blend, it's a Honduran puro, so you know what that means. Both the binder, the wrapper, and the filler come from Honduras. And I do think this is the first time on this channel, at least, that we've reviewed a Honduran puro, and I'm a fan. I always feel like I'm, by way of country of origin, I feel like I'm more of a Nicaraguan tobacco fan, more so than maybe Honduran, but this is starting to shift me a little bit, truth be told. More to come. All right, everybody. We're getting to that point where we can undress this guy, remove the band, and we can talk about those bands a little bit. The ash, as you can see, is still holding on. I'm doing my best not to disrupt that state of equilibrium that we have. There's band 1. And band number 2. And we can talk about those bands a little bit. It's a very simple color palette. And by that, it is just a silver or a pewter and a lacquer black, both of which are finished in a matte finish. There is some deep embossing throughout, and by that I mean there's some depth to this when you rub your finger over it. Upon hand inspection, it's very noticeable. There is some quadroons, or really rows of columns throughout. And if I needed to place it, maybe more Doric than anything else. So, calling that out there. Outside of that though, the band stock is certainly adequate. It's not a thicker cardstock or paper stock, but it certainly beats maybe some of those more wax paper based bands, for lack of a better word. In terms of flavor update, nuts, wood, still a little bit of cream. There's a citrus or a lemon component that registers to me as a limoncello. If you said lemon meringue, I'd credit that. I think that nets in my mouth. A dusty earth quality. And a coffee. The finish to me is a little bit of that dusty earth, coffee, slight wood. It's fantastic. We'll walk through the cigar wrap-up right now as well. In terms of construction, can't really fault it. As you can see, the ash was holding on and holding on strong. It did, however, fall off when I was removing the bands or undressing this bad boy. So que sera, sera, as they say. It reminds me, by way of Vitola, it reminds me a lot of the Camacho Diploma, albeit not a one-for-one for those that are familiar. So this is the Eiroa Jamastran 11x18, and so if I was to register or have a marketplace comparison, I would say it's very akin to, again, the Camacho Diploma Vitola. Burn, it jogged around a little bit. It did require a little bit of a touch-up, but nothing that really took away from the experience. The draw was fantastic. It was thick, slightly creamy, and almost a little chewy, if that makes sense. Strength and body, certainly a medium plus for both. My name is Brother T, Freemason, cigar enthusiast, here with VCR, and today we smoked the Eiroa Jamastran 11x18, and it's a Honduran puro, and it was fantastic. I think everyone should try one if you haven't. It's not offensive, it's sweet, there's some trail mix components, a limoncello. It was very dynamic, very engaging, and I'll tell you what, it's, for me in 21, one of my favorite cigars I've smoked so far. It's that and the chili series, or the pepper series from Viaje, and it was a Carolina Reaper. Those two for me, albeit not in apples to apples comparisons, they're on two different spectrums in terms of tasting profiles, but they're that engaging, they're that exciting. So if you haven't, pick one up, smoke one, and as always, smoke them if you got them.